Addicts, bingers, bulimics, saboteurs, hoarders, compulsive shoplifters, they all went back to the same thing. I'm not enough. I need more. For 33 years of being a therapist, I might work with a movie star, an Olympic athlete, or someone who's a school teacher, and they all have the same problem. And the problem is almost always I'm not enough. I mean, I've worked with so many addicts, thousands of addicts. I've never met one who ever thought they're enough. They'll say, you know, I drink because I'm not enough. I use because I'm not enough. I am addicted to spending because I'm not enough. What I see many therapists doing is the client comes in with a list, like what I call a shopping list. I need to stop drinking, I need to get out of bed, I need to stop shouting at my kids, I need to take care of myself. And they like to go through the list. It takes a long time. I go, oh, forget the list. Let's look at what I call what lies beneath. You know your problem? You think you're enough. Where does that, do you know, and a baby who's ever been born because I shouldn't cry because I don't deserve attention here. I shouldn't throw up on this white top my mum just bleached. No baby is ever born believing they're not enough. And so, again, we look at where does this come from, this belief you're not enough? Who told you that? Where did you get that? And when they go, oh, yes, it came from here, it's a game changer because they start to tell them, I'm enough. People say, but if I'm enough, don't I just lie on the couch and eat potato chips all day? No. When you know you're enough, then you go, right, I need a better relationship than this, a better career than this, a better health than this. So
why do you think that is a true movement for that? Because one thing that I struggle with the notion of somebody just telling themselves that they're enough.
Yeah.
I get the underlying power of repetition,
yes.
the importance of the words, and it feels like a very good foundation that the person then can build from. But where I struggle is I know that a lot of times people don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so if they don't ever then take those next steps of learning something or pushing themselves or doing something difficult, the words will ring hollow.
Yeah.
How do you help people establish meaning behind?
Well, I wrote a book called I'm Enough, and we have a program called I'm Enough, and what that does is it takes you the process of where does this come from? You're not born with this belief. How did you get it? And when they discover how they got it, they're able to give it up. One of my first ever clients was this beautiful woman, very hard to believe, and she said, I can never make a relationship last. And it sounds so silly, but she said that her dad used to say to her every day, you'll never ever find anyone that loves you like me. Nobody could love you like me. You'll never find the kind of love that I have. And he programmed, when you label someone, you limit them. So now she's got an imprint. I'm never going to find love like this love. And guess what she never found? Love like that. And all you have to do as a parent is to say, I love you because you're lovable. And all your life you'll find love like this love because you're worth it. So it's little tiny adjustments that have the most profound effect on people. And it's never too late to say, I'm enough, I can find love. And now if you give someone the power to make you feel good, you give them the power to make you feel bad. And if you do it to yourself, you feel so much better. It makes you slightly bulletproof. You still need other people. We all need other people. But the dialoguing with yourself and starting with I'm enough, I picked that because I found all my clients, addicts, bingers, bulimics, saboteurs, hoarders, compulsive shoplifters, they all went back to the same thing. I'm not enough, I need more. And if you feel enough, you start to feel equal. See, most of us feel unequal. You're better than me because you've got money, or you're more attractive than me. But no dog or cat says, oh, you're better than me because you're a pedigree. A baby doesn't know that another baby's wearing designer clothes and they're not. They have no concept of that. So really what I'm Enough is doing is reactivating, remanifesting and regenerating what you were born with, an ability to say, I'm enough. Before I continue, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notifications about my latest videos. On your phone, make sure to go into settings and switch on notifications.
Yeah, it's interesting. So part of, I think, what happens is obviously when a baby is born, they're lacking the sort of critical faculties to navigate the world. So, and this is, I put my finger on this because I want people to understand that they're going to struggle. So it's a little bit like meditation. People think I'm doing it wrong because they think there's some magical right that other people are doing and they're not doing it. Like when you start repeating this stuff in your head, I think people will say to themselves, what do you mean you're not worthy? You bought yourself a Target, like you're not significant,
we have a critical
whatever.
Voice.
Right. So learning that that's a thing and that's going to happen. That's a part of a normal human brain. It's designed to keep you safe and alive. It's not designed to propel you forward. So, but there are, once you understand, I mean, this is your language. Once you understand how the brain works, then you can go in and begin to tinker with some of this stuff to get where you want to go. Now, the tinkering part is what I want to get your take on. I'll use myself as an example. So, I have experienced things that have given me the story that I have a bad memory. Okay. I recognize it as a story, but it's so fucking compelling because the evidence from the time that I was a little kid just seems irrefutable. So, okay, but I understand the mind well enough to know, hey, I'm screwing myself over here. I'm repeating it, which is making it worse, self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. Jim Quick tells me, Tom, you have to stop saying that. I see you today. You're like, look, you have to stop saying that. And so I totally buy that I have to stop saying it, but I've known that for a long time. And I'm an ultra diligent, disciplined person. But for some reason, I haven't worked up the desire to see that one through. Now, because I have enough self-awareness, I can guess at the reason. The biggest reason that I'm hesitant is like, okay, look, my energy units are finite. So getting a good memory is going to be difficult. And do I want to put the time and the energy into this, yes or no? Because it's an allocation of time resources. So when I think about how far I've gotten, despite the fact that I have a bad memory, it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal to immediately address. So all I want to convey with this is that sitting in neutral, it won't just happen.
No, you have to want it.
Correct. So that's my very question.
They go, no, I like being ill. It meets all my needs.
But how do you get people to build that desire? Because I get asked that question a lot.
Okay, so, well, most people that come to me don't kind of go, hey, I've come to see, but I don't want to give up my problem. I mean, they do with food. They go, I want to be super healthy. Okay, you're going to stop eating donuts. I don't want to do that. Have you got anything else? I'm like,
there's a difference between I don't want to do one thing and I want to do it, but I'm not sure I have the energy to see it through.
But you see, the belief is what you're saying is it's work, so much work. It's no work. So what I would suggest for someone like you is just monitor how you speak. Oh, I forgot that. I got a terrible memory. I got that. I didn't miss that. I got a terrible memory. And start to say, I have a phenomenal memory. I have an outstanding memory. I have a reliable, foolproof memory. So I saw it with my daughter when she was little. She'd leave the house and come back because she had so much to remember, her school bag and her swimming stuff and her lunch. And I'd always say, what have you remembered? She goes, I remembered my lunch. I remembered my swimming. I go, that's so great that you remember. And very quickly she went from, oh, forgotten, I've got to go home, my mum's going to be really cross, to, no, my memory's great. At the gate it told me, school lunch, school coat. And of course, if you go to any kid's classroom, you'll see coats and bags. They forget everything. And we never go, well, it's the memory, you see. It disappears with age. And I have people of 90 who can tell you everything about their childhood and what it was like in the war. So you have to just make a decision to tell yourself, I have an outstanding, reliable, phenomenal, incredible, impressive, foolproof, big words, of course, because you want to excite you. And if you say it enough, your mind's job is to give you that memory and then stop saying, what have I forgotten? Say, what have I remembered? And then something else you do is just say, that will come to me. You know, you have to understand the mind a bit. So when you're dealing with a conscious mind, the subconscious doesn't do anything. If you're saying, what's the name of that book or that restaurant? Oh, I don't know. I give up. I've got a terrible memory. You suddenly goes, oh, it's come into my head. It was this book. It was the Tim Ferriss book. I remember now. Because you've given your mind an instruction. What is the name of that book? Your mind will go and find it. But if you are still actively looking, it doesn't do it. So we have something called command therapy. You've got to command your mind. Go ahead and remind me where my passport is. Remind me. And so often it's just really poor communication. You know, people say, oh God, I'm flying to London tonight and I can never fall asleep on a plane. I just can't go to sleep. We're like, well, where are you going? You don't go anywhere. You don't fall. You lie on the plane and you invite sleep to come to you. You go, I'm lying here, my eyes are heavy and sleep's descending upon me like a mist. Because it's a misdirect of the mind, because you don't fall and you don't go. But when you say sleep's coming to me, and when I am in different time zones all over the world, I lie in bed and go, right, sleep now, send sleep to me now. I insist on 8 hours of sleep. I need 8 hours. And I tell my mind what I want, but I am very clear, very specific, but not, can I fall asleep? I need to, because I've got to get up in 5 hours. Now I'm stressed. I just give my mind very clear instructions. You do have to train yourself a bit, but if you use those words, my memory is impressive and infallible, your mind knows what that looks like and it will make it real. If you just go, I need a better memory, that's not exciting. So excite it with powerful words and you won't be surprised, or you might, how much better it gets. But you've got to give up this belief that it's work. Because talking to yourself isn't work. Exciting your mind isn't work. Going to the gym is work, but saying every day as you get up, I've got a great memory. I can even imagine my diary and I can see what's in it. If you tell yourself that, it actually really becomes true, and you'll notice that everyone who's got a good memory will say, my memory is amazing. Oh, I have the best memory ever. They never go, I've got a mind like a sieve. I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. I would forget the eyes in my head if they weren't there. But people with a poor memory, they justify it. They remind themselves how bad it is instead of deciding, no, I'm going to have a great memory.
I know that people say to you a lot of times, yeah, sure, okay, this is easy for you because nothing bad has ever happened to you. But you actually had I'm so curious to know how you characterize it. You had cancer.
Twice, yeah.
I was going to say battle, and then I thought, I don't know that she would say that.
Yeah, I didn't use the word battle.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, one, I'd love to hear how you do conceptualize it, and then how you dealt with it. I think would be really powerful for people.
People do look at me and say, well, you've had an amazing life. But, you know, my life wasn't awful. My father was a headmaster. He was very invested in other people's kids. I just felt like this kind of hideous blob that wasn't interesting to him at all. I was told I could never, ever have children. And if I got pregnant, I would never carry a baby to full term. I remember hearing that, thinking, you know what, I have to not let this in. And that's very important to make a decision. I will not let that in. So when I was told I couldn't have a baby, I thought, I'm not letting that in. And when I got pregnant, I was told many times, you're going to lose the baby. She's going to be born with something wrong with her. And I talked to her all the time and told her to grow perfectly, and she did. And when I was told I had cancer, I mean, of course, it's a horrible thing to hear. And I did spend the first 2 days thinking, oh my God, you know, well, where am I going to go with this? But because I've taught my mind for so long to only go towards positive, I found myself on day 3 singing this song. And it was that song about, you know, that song, I feel pretty and witty and wise, but it was saying I'm healing and my body is healing and it's healing all the time. And I just made a decision to tell my body, look, you're going to do wellness now. And so I started to do wellness, and I visualized healing, and I visualized it being very contained, and I visualized myself bouncing back. And 3 weeks later, I was on stage in Costa Rica. Not because I'm super, because I told my body, listen, I haven't got time to sit in this hospital bed with medication, do wellness. I really did command my body to recover. And it sounds like it's all right for you, but again, you have to understand the rules of the mind. Your body does what it says. If you go, I'm ill, I got cancer now, it's bound to come back, and always looking for signs. People say to me, you know, I'm a cancer survivor. I'm like, oh no, I'm not, because I don't have it. So I was obviously surprised when I got it again, but I just had to do the same thing and say, that's it now, twice is enough for anyone. I'm done with that. And I don't refer to it a huge amount. Never called it my cancer. That's my cancer. It was, I've got my cancer back, or I'm going for my cancer treatment. And when you prefix something with my, you own it. Like, you could look at my shoes, aren't they cool? Or got my great t-shirt. But when you say my migraine, my headache, my illness, my terrible memory, if you put the word my in front of something, it's yours. And if you call it the, it's not yours. So I was very committed to never saying my. It wasn't mine. I didn't want it. I felt very lucky that I got it in an organ that I didn't need, that was completely dispensable. So that was good. I remember even thinking, well, what stroke of luck that is. I don't need a womb. It's done its great job. And I talked to my mum and said, thanks for giving me this great kid. You did a great job, but now I've got to be here for this great kid. So you can leave and I'm staying. Even in surgery, your subconscious is hearing what's going on around you. And there are many people who come out of a coma who said, you know, I heard everything. The hearing is the last thing to go. And so if you make a choice to talk to yourself better, you can bounce back. You might as well use your mind as much as you possibly can to be well. Check out my next video here and download my free self-esteem boosting workbook right here. Play the only part we've ever known, and then you make that part your own, where you go, you know what? I think it's time for a new part. I was told I could never, ever have children. The whole